Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. It's just Marco here once again, and if you're wondering where I've been the past couple of days, I have been working on the film. And that's all I'll say. All Al. That doesn't sound right. It sounds like I'm saying all Al I'll say. All I'll say. Okay, you guys understand it, right? That is all I will say about it. And it was really hilarious too because my co-star was here with me. And she got to experience firsthand the fraud that goes on in this filmmaking process. It was really hilarious. Like, we were sitting around talking about, the stand-in that I hired, this girl named Grace. I should say this fraud named Grace. And she was supposed to show up on Saturday night to do some of her work. And she decided to not only not show up, but to block not only me, but she blocked the movie page. She blocked all the actors in the movie. Very, very weird, unprofessional, rude, awful behavior. And she was so surprised too, like the co-star. She was so surprised about wow, that's really weird, it's just so bizarre, the way that these so-called actors think that they can behave. What the thing is, though, is that this girl signed a contract. She signed a legal contract that said that she would do this. And, you can't just block someone and not show up and ignore them and pretend like you don't have to do it. It's no, that's not how that works. If you do that, you're violating the contract and are subject to lawsuit. And so that is probably where that is heading. I will have to start, punishing people because, this is why contracts are made. If I didn't punish people, then why even make a contract and have people sign it if I wasn't gonna, hold them accountable? And also, I would like to advertise, I did a really funny show on Saturday called Right Wing Roulette, and it's basically like a Hot Ones parody, where, I insult the guest, and it's really over the top and fun. And my co-star and I, we did that. And so if you'd like to see that, go over to the Risky Ideas Movies YouTube channel and check it out. It is the first video on the page. It was really funny, yeah. So today I am actually doing a commentary for The Incredibles. This is a lot of people's favorite Pixar movie, and I can definitely understand why. It is one of the best movies ever made. It's one of the best superhero movies ever made. It has a great balance of dark and comedy. It has just everything that you could want practically from a Pixar movie. And it proves that, hey, we don't have to have a movie about toys or about animals or bugs. We can tell a story with human people and have them be the main characters. And I kind of wish that they do more of that, because if anything, this movie just kind of shows that Pixar, they had a lot of potential, and they're kind of squandering it now on these stupid, awful stories that they tell. So, here we go. This is a movie that I used to watch it a lot as a kid. I really loved the DVD menu screen because it was so creative and fun, all the different things that you could get and find. I also kind of love. I know that a lot of people, or I don't know, like if they can tell, but like I really love like the 1960s vibe that this movie has. Like it really has like an old school vibe. Yeah. Oh yeah, there's Helen Parr. That is a grade A MILF. I mean, also this movie, this I will say, I know that this is probably going to make some people upset, but this probably has the best characters out of any Pixar movie besides, I guess, Woody and Buzz. But like, you put Mr. Incredible, Helen, Frozen, the daughter and the son, Violet, and what was the son's name? I forgot. I really am embarrassed by that, but yeah. I did watch this movie on my birthday one year, and that's kind of like an honor that not many movies get. It was 2020. No, wait, no, maybe it was 28. No, it was 2020. Yeah. I love Craig T. Nelson. Huh. I love the logo too. The Incredibles logo. I mean, yeah, this movie. I mean, I'm probably not going to have very many criticisms in this movie. This is probably going to be another failure of a commentary. Because, like, again, like, when a movie is so good, what do you even say? You just enjoy it. You just sit back and have fun. I guess you talk about other things, which I've already done. And I would also echo people's points in saying that this is the perfect Fantastic Four movie. Yeah, that was... I hope that stupid Fantastic Four Marvelous make it as... Yeah, this is great. I mean, the first thing that Mr. Incredible has to do is save a cat. The first thing he does... They never do that in a superhero movie nowadays. They're too concerned with like, oh no, the galactic bad guy in outer space in the alternate dimension who is the doppelganger of one of your favorite superheroes is gonna destroy the world. What are you gonna do? And it's like, fuck that. I miss superhero movies when they were grounded in the streets. When you have Mr. Incredible saving a cat out of a tree. You had Tobey Maguire Spider-Man fucking kicking ass out in the streets, kissing Mary Jane upside down and shit. Like, this is what superhero movies really need to be. I'm sick and tired of these stupid multiverse movies. These stupid outer space movies. Everything has to be so grand and spectacular, and it's just all the same sludge. It's just corporate sludge. There's no personality. It's not unique. It's trash. And The Incredibles, this movie came out in what, 2004? And somehow it's better than any movie that came out in 2024. That's for damn sure. This movie destroys Deadpool and Wolverine. It makes Deadpool and Wolverine look like a pile of shit. I love the the unique, like, animations of, like, or I guess the unique character designs, I should say. I mean, this little old lady, like, she's a little bit, like, over the top, like a caricature, but it works. It works so well. Like, I wish there were more movies like The Incredibles now. I love the action in this movie, too. I mean, this movie probably has the best action in any superhero movie ever made. Besides, well, actually, no. This has the best action for sure. I'd also say Spider-Man 2. Brody. This movie's just so good. Like, I keep on forgetting how good this movie is because, like, this was one of those movies that I wasn't forced to watch all the time in school. And so it was one of those movies I enjoyed a lot more. I would watch it at home. And, wow, this is so good. There's Elastigirl. Oh, yeah. They said, no, we're not going to make the female characters look ugly and masculine. We're going to make them look sexy and feminine, like how women should look in movies, when it makes sense, of course. Because why can't women look beautiful in movies anymore? Like, why do they all have to look like dumpy and gross, like Rose Tico in Star Wars The Last Jedi and shit? Maybe people actually would have liked Rose Tico if she looked like Elastigirl or something. And there's so much color. Look at all that beautiful color. I'm almost like having like a pretentious orgasm over how beautiful this movie looks. I mean, they'd never make a movie that looks this good nowadays. Did you see how ugly and awful Deadpool and Wolverine looked? That ugly-ass sandpaper movie? That sludge of a movie? I mean, it was a pretty good movie, but in terms of how it looked, like, ugh. Probably the worst-looking superhero movie ever made. And I feel like that really has to count for something, because movies are a visual storytelling form. Movies are not like just dialogue, characters. That it's a visual experience. You know, this is something that happened where my co-star and we were shooting this experiment sequence, and it turned out really bad. And it's because we basically just shot a bunch of shots and didn't really think about how they would connect to each other. And that's an extremely terrible mistake, because the shots in a movie, they have to connect. It has to be beautiful, because it creates this smoothness. It's a smooth... I love Bon Voyage, too. I saw that someone did a Bon Voyage, like, costume at a convention. I thought that was hilarious, but yeah. There's, like, this smooth flow that has to happen in movies. I gotta say, too, Mr. Incredible should have given Buddy credit for creating the... I mean, how did he create those rocket boots? I am your ward. I swear to God, guys, if any of you ever get into the comments and say that you're my ward, I'm gonna block you. Because that's so gay. I love how Bon Voyage is roasting him too. And I got to see this in theaters too, man. Like, it was a treat to see this movie in theaters. I didn't really, think anything of it, I thought movies are always going to be this good. Yeah, that was a big mistake. If I knew how bad movies would turn out now, oh God, I'd be seeing The Incredibles like for the 100th time in theaters right now. Like, seriously. Also, I know that it hasn't happened yet, but I love how this movie actually deals with the ramifications of being a superhero, the ramifications of destroying shit and doing things that maybe shouldn't have been done. Because a bunch of superhero movies after this, MCU movies, they basically just and also Man of Steel, they basically let superheroes, like, destroy the world, and it's like, oh, who cares? They can do whatever they want. They're superheroes. It's like, that's retarded. That's not realistic. And then they had to make Civil War and BVS, and then after that, it was like just they went right back to normal, right back to the usual. It's like, oh yeah, we did that Civil War movie, but now, like, let's start, like, destroying things on a multi-dimensional basis. You need to be more flexible. That's what Mr. Incredible probably says at home a lot. Like, guys, you'd be damn sure that if I could get married to Elastigirl, that would be a no-brainer for me. Like, she is probably in the top 10, like, or potential love interests in movie history for me. Like, yeah. I also loved, a lot of people pointed out, I loved how a lot of the dead superheroes are there at the wedding. And it's really sad, right? Like you only see them for like a split second, and it's like, I don't think there are. I wish that there were some deleted scenes of like the wedding with the superheroes who died, to see like them interact with Mr. Incredible. Yeah. Ow. You ruined my death. No. And this is great too. This like little montage here of like this old-timey montage. They'd never do that nowadays. They did it in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans. They did it in this. Everyone loved it. And then all of a sudden it's like, no, superheroes have to be realistic. It all has to be realistic. We can't have fun anymore, I love how this old woman whose claim he's denying, she looks a lot like the old woman whose cat that he saved. You know what I mean? Like, it almost looks like an older version of her, and that's like a really interesting and, you know, beautiful like visual parallel. And see, look, yeah, they really knew how to make movies back then, man. In 2004, they knew what to do. You know, they weren't like incompetent like they are now, focused on diversity and agendas and shit. Go save the world one policy at a time. Here's the boss. I love the boss. Harry hard look. Remember we were talking about in the How to Eat Fried Worms commentary? Oh God, here's another great scene. Okay, guys. Okay, okay, guys. Like, sorry, this fucking thing. Okay, yeah, this is the best Pixar movie. Yeah, yeah. That's not even a debate anymore. Like, it's like, yeah. I don't even need. I could literally turn off the movie right now, and the movie is going to be the #1 Pixar movie at the end of this Pixar journey. You know, like, seriously, like, it's that good. Like, you know, they don't make movies like this anymore. But what I was going to say was, in the How to Eat Fried Worms commentary, I was saying that, like, it would be hilarious to see, like, the Office show of the dad, like a sitcom with like those characters, because it just looks so bizarre. And I would say the same for this show, like for this movie. I mean, I would love to see like an Office style sitcom of Mr. Incredible working at this terrible company, but trying to help people with this horrible like little person boss. And like, it's just, oh, here's the principal scene. I love this scene so much too. Oh, it's Dash, yeah. Dash. And the teacher is another caricature. He drops the remote. I mean, I think one of the brilliant things about this movie is its ability to be like realistic, but also be like comical and fantastic at the same time. Speaking of fantastic, now's the time for another rant. Matt dipshit Reeves making his shitty Twilight Boy Batman sequel. He's like, I'm not gonna make the movie too fantastical because this is the Batman universe, and everything has to be realistic. So I'm not really going to have a full-on Clayface. I'm not really going to go full comical because, everything has to be realistic. And it's like, fuck you! You're making a fucking comic book movie, you fucking twat! Like, seriously. And people are still excited for that movie after that announcement. Like, yeah. And people thought they were going to get a Clayface in live action. Here's another rant. Oh, I love the Bubblegum Kid, too. Yeah. Here's another... Oh, God. I smell terrible. I got this deodorant. I have a problem with deodorants because I'm allergic to like the stuff that's in antiperspirant. It makes my arms red, my armpits, and it itches and everything. It's terrible. And I got this really nice like lavender deodorant, and it wears off so fast, and it makes you smell terrible. Like, that should really be, like, an issue that's addressed, like, sometime. Like, they should make, like, a better deodorant that doesn't wear off for people who are allergic to that crap. And I like seeing the steak, too. I wish I could have some steak, man. I love this scene too, the dinner scene. Breaks the plate. Oh, it's meatloaf? What? Oh. See, we don't really do that at my house. I don't know if you guys have ever done that. I'm going to have to take a little bit of a break to get the dinner ready for some reason. I thought that somebody else was going to, but apparently not. They told me that they were. It's not Safi, by the way. Safi is working on her store. But I forgot. Oh no. Does anyone else have it where you have like a mixture of like you could have meatloaf, you could have pasta, you could have steak? Like, does anyone else do that? Because I've only ever done that on like a special occasion or like there was this one time in 2021 where I did, or it might have been 2020, where I did this kind of like friendly barbecue thing. We had like steak, salmon, pasta, shrimp. But that was the only time like that I ever did something like that, but you guys let me know if you've ever done that before, because it's like this Parr family, they're struggling, but they can have all these different entrees. It's a little silly to me, but I guess it is 2004, so they don't have Bidenomics to worry about. So yeah, I'm just kidding, guys. Like, I don't really care. I'm not making a political statement. So but yeah, I kind of am. They all suck and they're terrible and they ruin everything. people in the government. So, yeah. And I am back about a million years later, but you guys would never know because this is going to be all in the same video. I have my dinner here. It's chili. It's only September, and I'm already sick and tired of like every single winter meal, because instead of having like summer meals in the summer, we had foods like spaghetti and like heavy foods like spaghetti, chili, things that you really should only have like in the fall and winter season. Like instead of like coming up with like creative like summertime meals, like I don't know. Yeah. My favorite Incredible is probably just, I hate to sound like a cliche, but it's probably just Mr. Incredible. Like, I don't usually, usually I'm always, about the underdog. I'm always about, the side character who gets overlooked. Like in Kick-Ass, for instance, I would say my favorite character is Hit Girl. This is one of those times where I definitely think the main character is the best character. I loved how they're having this little fight at the table, and I love this part, the freezing the spit. That was great. Yeah. Oh, what does anyone in the world really know about Normal, though? Oh, yeah, okay, oh. I got the perfect story to tell, guys. One of the frauds who advertise themselves as an actor and doesn't really act, she's really... She's probably one of the stupidest actors that I've ever come across. So, I don't know what her real name is. At this point, maybe she hasn't even put her real name up, but she likes to call herself Jack Jack off of Jack Jack and the Incredibles. And so, I have found her off of this casting website. And, she seemed really full of herself. She took a picture with a bunch of, indie movie directors at this one party. And she tried to claim that, she was then going to be famous because she was surrounded by these directors at a party. And, she never really has done any movie or short film or anything, because she doesn't really act. She doesn't even really want to act. She just wants to pretend like that she's an actress. She posts these really terrible pictures where, there's hardly any lighting. It's like she's just staring with this resting bitch face. And it's like, yeah, people don't like that. That's not, that's what I say. Everyone has their own version of what they think their acting career is going to be, or what they think being famous is going to be. And none of them really bother anymore to conform with what really should be the mainstream way of how to be famous and how to look, how to act. They don't do that anymore, because everyone can do whatever they want now. And so it's really funny because she changed her name, and this is a fake name for sure. That's why I'm going to say the full thing. She changed her name on the casting website to Lauren Hollabow. I don't even know how to pronounce it correctly. It is the most bizarre name I've ever heard of. It doesn't even fit her. she's like a Latina girl, basically, and it's a terrible, terrible name. I don't even know what Hollabow is, and it's like, I guess that she thought that that was the missing element and why her acting career hadn't taken off. It wasn't because she didn't want to do any of the work and didn't want to, do her auditions and, actually be in a movie. It's because her name was Jack Jack off of Jack Jack and the Incredibles. So that's really hilarious. And, this is the one time I can really mention that, but like, yeah, really bad. So what I did was I messaged her again after like a million years ago, and I said, "Who is that? Who is Lauren Hollabow?" She never responded. What do you guys think, by the way? Do you think the missing element and why she couldn't get famous is because her name was... She had to change her name to Lauren Hollabow? It's so goofy. Another weird thing about her, she originally had her location listed as like New York or Arizona or something, and then all of a sudden now it's in Ohio. So I don't even think that she's like a serious person. I think that she's some kind of a mentally ill weirdo. I can't remember the name of the gray-haired woman villain, but like a lot of people really like her too. I was never really much of a fan of her, but I do see the vision now as an adult. Let's just say. Yeah. And we're getting a burning building sequence too. It's like every superhero movie knew what it had to have. It had to have a kiss moment with the love interest, where it feels like, yeah, the superhero gets to save the day and therefore he gets the girl. It's not like nowadays where it's like, oh, fuck you, Chris Pratt, you can't be with Gamora anymore. It's like, fuck that. Mr. Incredible gets the sexiest Pixar character in history for saving the world. You have to have a burning building scene. You have to have a saving cat scene. And it's like, they knew what to do. They really knew how to make superhero movies at this time, man. I mean, it's just like every single fucking thing in this movie I love. Like every single damn thing. And it's funny because usually whenever I look at a movie this critically, it's always like realizing I don't like something as much. And it's like, oh, I didn't like that. But like, this is one of those instances where like every frame is perfect. This whole scene is perfect. I mean, this is another masterpiece scene. The taking a drink scene. Like, it's just simple. It's suspenseful. There's suspense in this kid's movie. It's so good. How did they make something so good back then? If the world was so terrible and just everything was so bad, and like, how did they manage to make such a fantastic movie, man? Like, what's my favorite scene in Incredibles? I don't know, like every single scene of the movie. That would be my answer. I never realized I was this much of an Incredibles fanboy. Also, that cake looks really good, but I gotta say, probably one of the scariest things about this movie is just shoving that hulking piece of cake in your mouth without any milk, without any water or any drink or anything. It's like, yeah, that's like torture, you know? Like, I love cake. I'm one of those people who thinks that cake is better than pie. I think cake is better than cookies. But like just eating like a big piece of cake like that with nothing to drink is like, ew, terrible. I also love, even though Mr. Incredible's really fat, he's got this superhero frame. This superhero like V frame. Nobody has the V frame anymore. You know, like they pointed that out a lot in the bodybuilding community. They used to be really obsessed with having that V shape. Especially like Vince Gironda. He's probably one of my favorite like bodybuilding icons. Maybe my number one. He knew how to get the V shape. He had that perfect V. And that sounds really gay, I know, but I really don't care. I love the aesthetic too of like the house and everything. Even this house has like a 1950s, 1960s aesthetic. I love it. That's another thing about this movie, is that this is probably the first movie in the Pixar lineup that doesn't feel like it's trying to show off that they can animate something. You know, like in all the other movies, it feels like they'll have this long sequence to prove that they can animate a certain thing. And I really don't like it. Like, I like it, but it's just like, I don't think that it doesn't age well, because it really sticks out now, you know, looking back. This is the first movie that just feels like it's perfect from beginning to end. Oh, it's so perfect. I'm an Incredibles fanboy. I never realized this, man. And now we have this scene. Oh God, I feel so gay, but just so like this movie's so good. If I want to say something really outrageous too. If this movie was a woman, I would marry this movie. This movie is the frame. Or no, that's not what you say. This movie is the blueprint. I think that every single filmmaker should look at this movie for what to do. Yeah. They're penetrating the bureaucracy. I think that this whole clock metaphor, Mr. Incredible would have a really hard time living in today's world, with like Haitian immigrants running around and eating pets and shit in people's yards. He wouldn't be able to do anything besides just constantly kick ass out in the streets. He would clean up the world. But this clock metaphor is flawed because you think about, you know what else a clock has to do? It has to help people because that's what it's made for. It's made so that people can tell the time, which therefore helps people plan their day and, know what the time is, whatever. So I think that whole metaphor is like irrelevant, honestly. Yeah. Yeah. Badass. Look at that guy's face. He deserves it. Oh, here's that shitty character from the sequel, that random old guy that is trash. So superheroes all have to live in this like witness protection type of world. It's terrible. I love the teaser trailer for this movie, too. If you guys have never seen the teaser trailer, but you've seen this movie, I would highly recommend it. It's really funny. So what really sucks, guys, whenever the movie doesn't have something for me to talk about, I'll just talk about other things. What really sucks is that I'm not going to be able to finish shooting with the co-star until November, December, January, like that winter time period. Oh yeah, Mirage. Honestly, for all the shit that Mr. Incredible has to go through, Buddy, the so-called Buddy, he has like a dream life. He's got Mirage. And honestly, I really don't know. At this point, I'm kind of torn, like, would you guys either take Mirage or would you take Elastigirl? We didn't really get to know Mirage very well, you know? I love this room too. It's beautifully decorated. I think the reason why everyone loved the second one so much, which was a terrible movie, but I think the reason is because this movie doesn't just feel like a one and done movie. This movie feels like the setup for a series. Because the whole thing is about how everyone should be proud of their powers. Everyone should be, you know, people shouldn't be living in fear. They shouldn't be hiding what they are, what they have, their special talents and abilities. But it was all about building up to that, building up to the sequel, in my opinion. Like, that's what it felt like. So when the sequel didn't come out for so many years, I think that people were going to love the sequel no matter what. In the same way that I think that everyone loves the Alien movie, the new bad Alien movie. I think that everyone loves the new Beetlejuice movie because they wanted it, because they were waiting for it. So it's like, oh, we waited for it, so we're going to like it no matter what. I guess the one thing I don't like about this movie, I mean, and I'm not saying I don't like it, but I'm just saying, like, the least good thing about this perfect movie. I don't like that, like, old-timey sitcom cliche where, like, the husband and wife don't tell each other everything, you know? You guys know what I mean? I love the henchmen in this movie, too. They all have these, like, little black visors that cover their eyes. They're probably some of the best-looking henchmen in, like, superhero movie history. Don't die. You guys know what I like to do now when I have chili, too? You know American cheese, Kraft American cheese, that perfect fake cheese that tastes so good? I just like to get a slice of it and put it right on top of the chili. It's so perfect. I wish that I had been doing it all along. It's the same thing with, like, how I never used to really put Parmesan cheese on spaghetti. Like, as a kid, I just thought, like, I don't want to be like other people. I want to just put butter on my spaghetti. And over time, I was like, fuck that. I'm putting some Parmesan cheese all over it. to where it's like a snowstorm, basically. Excuse me. Yeah, and we had lasagna recently, too. Like, geez. Those are winter meals. I hope they never make a live action Incredibles 2. Ugh. You guys imagine how terrible that would be? Ugh. I mean, I am thoroughly engaged every single action sequence in this movie. I just can't stop watching it. Huh. Nice. Awesome. Awesome sequence. Can't get better than this. Maybe that would be a good video to do. Top 10 best and worst superhero movies, but I don't feel like I can competently say that because I haven't seen, like, the Christopher Reeve Superman movies, for instance, you know, so... I would definitely have put this movie as number one, though. Probably. Number one worst superhero movie is easily Wonder Woman 84. Ugh. That movie was so bad. I was shocked at how bad it was. I was shocked at how anyone could have said that movie was any good. That was another, like, cliche, too, or not a cliche. That was another... That was another instance where it felt like people really liked the first Wonder Woman. They waited for the second one, and they were going to like it regardless. So, you had all these people giving it an A+. Yeah, that is not an A+ movie. That's a F- movie. And they'd never have that in a Pixar movie anymore either. Mr. Incredible spanking his wife. They never do that anymore. I really wish I could work out too. You know, probably one of my worst moments of the summer was like, you know, I have terrible allergy problems. And there was this one afternoon where we were doing laundry and I worked out, and like as I was working out, I wasn't feeling very well and I was starting to feel dizzy and my vision was changing a little bit, and it was because like even just doing curls with like 15-pound dumbbells, like it was too much for me with my allergy problems. And it was like I was going to pass out. And so the whole rest of the day and the evening though, I felt terrible and I had terrible problems, and it sucks cuz I really love working out. And I'd love to look like Mr. Incredible, too. You know, a fun fact is that if you guys know... I guess I won't say his name, but there's this famous bodybuilder YouTuber, and he would answer questions on email. And one of the questions that I asked him... And I love Edna Mode, by the way. She's really good, too. But... I guess I'll pause until I finish this really quick story, even though this is going to be such a long commentary, but fuck it. This movie deserves it. I asked this bodybuilder, how do I get a body that looks like a superhero? How do I look like, you know how like superheroes have this like, basically this wide V shape? Like, how do I achieve that? And he made this video where he answered that question, and he basically just spent 10 minutes insulting, like, the person who asked the question. And it's like, honestly, it was a good question because, like, I don't even really think that he thought about it this way, but, like, it is a good question of, like, how to get the V shape, you know, because it's basically, like, you gotta have wide shoulders, wide back, small waist, small chest, or not small chest, but like small stomach. Nowadays, they're all about like big stomachs. Like, you know, the more abs, the better. It looks terrible. It's awful. I don't even really pay attention to the bodybuilding world anymore. Like, those bodybuilding YouTubers were like some of the worst human beings on the planet. Like, they were awful people. Like, I have tons of stories about, like, how awful they really were. I love that. What have you been doing, Robert? I like how this movie has this, like, established history, all of this lore and mythology. like these different superheroes and shit. It makes the feel movie. It makes the feel movie. It makes the movie feel a lot grander, in my opinion. You guys also ever had that thing happen as a kid where you would mishear things in movies? Because I used to think that she would call that suit horrible as a kid. I never thought she called it a hobo suit. Huh. Hmm. Yeah. I love all the technology in this movie too. Like, this is an animated movie, so, they can do whatever they want. The sky's the limit. And a lot of these 1960s shows and things that this movie's probably inspired by, they would make things that looked futuristic and technology. Like, I'm sure Star Trek, and it's funny that I went to that Star Trek convention and I still haven't watched another episode of the show. But, like, it always came off looking goofy for the most part. Like, even in my movie, I have some inventions that, I kind of purposefully made them look a little bit goofy. Because that's kind of like the fun of inventions, is that they look so personalized, they look so unique and fun, and they just don't look like factory-made products. And I love all the technology in this movie, like this thing here of where there's like this layer inside this waterfall, and like just really, really cool. The robots too, they're really cool. Like this, I really like his suit too. The red and black and yellow and orange suit. I think it actually looks a lot better than the blue suit. You know what I would really like to see, though? I know that this is kind of cliche. I would really like to see a black Incredible suit. Like, just imagine a pitch black suit with red and yellow and orange, like, for the logo and everything. Edna. I love in this scene how the mom is so intimidated by Edna that she starts dropping the phone. I've never had that happen before, but I can feel it. I can understand that feeling. I can totally empathize. Syndrome is probably one of the top 5 supervillains of all time. He's pure evil. He has an understandable origin story. I mean, honestly, I do think that Mr. Incredible could have been nicer to Buddy. I understood. That's another thing, too, that I didn't really talk about, I guess, was that the way that Mr. Incredible treated Buddy is the way that, like, the Ghostbusters should have treated the children. Like that stupid thing of, like, where the children can be Ghostbusters in the new movie, and it's like they can just do whatever they want, and there's no consequences for their actions. It's like, I liked at least how Mr. Incredible, he didn't want the kid to get hurt. He understood the gravity of his work, but it still is, like, a thing of, like, maybe it would have been nicer for him to, like, take him around, but, like, yeah, he was, like, a crazy, like, fanboy stalker type, so yeah, that probably wouldn't have worked either, so ignore that. I forgot who plays Syndrome. You guys remember? I'm gonna go look that up real quick. This is the part where we see all the dead superheroes. Really dark. Really dark. I just sounded like an idiot there. Jason Lee. Who's that? Oh yeah, that guy. Huh. That's interesting. Well then. I never knew that, honestly. Like, interesting. I'm looking at all the different cast members. Violet turned out to be a big disappointment. Just because I've never seen her in anything else. Dash, I guess the kid who played Dash didn't do it in the second one. Who did it in the second one? That's kind of weird. That's always, like, I would say that's one of my biggest pet peeves, is that people in the sequels, when they get recast or when they don't come back, like, that always really irritates me. Huck Miller. Oh. Huck Milner. Okay. Yeah. I hate that movie so badly. That second Incredibles. Ugh. Especially with how they dealt with... I guess we're not to Incredibles 2 yet. Yeah, I won't spoil my criticisms that I have trouble, like, not talking about for some reason. I definitely do. I know that I said that a live action Incredibles would be terrible, but you know that woman from the Blacklist who had the glasses, and she's like shorter, and she was also on the X-Files. Like, she definitely could play Edna Mode probably in a movie. That's probably the only good casting. And I know that this is going to sound biased, but I definitely probably could play Mr. Incredible. And my co-star would definitely be a good Mrs. Incredible. For sure. We just have the right looks. I don't really think you'd be able to find people as perfect as the ones that they got to play these voices I think you'd have to look in terms of like, and I love this whole suit testing thing of showing the different suits and shit. And this sofa thing that moves to the right and left, and it's so much fun, this technology. But like, I think that the key to casting The Incredibles, I guess, in real life would be get a big person with like a big wide shoulder frame and a big personality. That would be Mr. Incredible, and that's pretty much me. And then for Mrs. Incredible, get a smaller frame woman who has a lot of strength of her own and who can hold her own, and that would be my co-star. And so that's why I'm saying, like, I definitely think we could nail the roles in live action, but I probably never would do that, or never could. But I would definitely do that, because I love The Incredibles a lot. I'd have to dye my hair and shit. I'd have to shave off my beard. I'd have to get contact lenses. Yeah. I would do it, though. I would definitely do it. What do you guys think? I know that sounds kind of narcissistic of me. Or kind of like, kind of queer, but like, I'm just saying, like, I have like an eye for casting. I'm pretty good with that type of thing. Like, for all the troubles that I've had, it's never really been because I've had like a misjudgment of like, oh, that person wouldn't have been right for the role, or oh, that person's totally wrong. All the problems that I've had have been because people have their own issues. Like, I've tried to give so many people opportunities, probably didn't deserve it. And, like, pretty much, like, things have ended up the way that they have for a lot of the cast just because, like, I've found who I've been able to find. You know, I'm doing what I can. I'm using what I got. And, but I definitely, because, like, when I cast people, and I've said this before, too, I cast people, and I entrust them with the roles. I know that they know the roles, so they shouldn't need too much direction, because they are the roles, you know, like, sometimes a little bit for the worst, you know, I mean, there was I won't tell that story again, but like, let's just say when you're really good at casting, it can cause problems because like if people are like the roles that you write, and the roles are nasty people, then people turn out to be pretty nasty, you know. Yeah. And I'm talking about all this stuff because again, I don't really know what to say right now. The movie's at a point where it's like, it's really beautiful. I love what's going on. But when there's something to talk about in the movie, I will definitely talk about it, you know. I think another thing that would deter me from wanting to do the Incredibles movie, and I know that this, again, sounds really, really narcissistic of me or something that I'm talking like this, but I really wouldn't want to do like a green screen Incredibles movie. I would want to do a practical one with a limited amount of green screen. I would want it to be like classic 1960s style, but heavily comical. I would want it to be like Spider-Man 2, Tobey Maguire. I wouldn't want it to be like Infinity War. I wouldn't want it to be like Batman versus Superman or the shitty Justice League, either version. You know, I would want it to feel real. Because, like, that's another funny thing about this movie. And that's the funny thing about animated movies in general. is the animated movies, they all want to feel like they're pretty real. You know, they all want to feel like they're realistic and like they take place in the real world, but at the same time, they're able to have fun. They're able to have fun with what they have. They're able to let go and let loose and just, you know, not act like everything is so serious and not act like everything has to be extremely realistic. And that's why there's so many animated movies that are so good. And that's why Pixar used to be really good, because they struck that balance that movies nowadays don't really have, and like being realistic but also being fantastical at the same time. Nowadays you have all these movies like the Batman. They're really stuck up. They want to be more than they are. And then you have other movies that are just so over the top and fantastical, like that Minecraft movie that they're trying to push now. Looks terrible. And it just, there needs to be a balance. And so I am actually back. This is the third part, I guess, in the commentary. What happened last night was that I literally just stopped commentating to go get my dessert, and then I just wasn't really interested in finishing the movie. That's what happens sometimes. Like, I'll watch a movie, like half of it, and then I'll just be like, I'll watch the rest some other time. And then I got really in the mood to write, because I've been writing a making of thing about my movie. And then today I worked on a trailer like the entire day. Like the entire day I worked on this. It was so much work. All the way from the morning till now. It was like exhausting. So I'm going to finish this movie. This probably won't happen again where I like take a break, but you know, I really want to enjoy this movie, so that's why I wanted to, like, you know, take a break and not like force myself to finish it. Yeah. I also would like to take this opportunity to say, yes, Iron Man 3 was kind of a rip-off of this movie, too. Like, that movie was terrible. Like, and this is also really depressing, this whole sequence. Like, all these superheroes have been killed. Would you guys, you know what I'd kind of like to see? I know I might be in the minority here. But after the second one was so bad, I'd actually kind of like to see a prequel to The Incredibles where it's like him in his prime meeting Elastigirl, getting together with her. Like, I would have rather have seen an Incredibles prequel than seen a Buzz Lightyear movie, you know? I love this too because like you know what I love about this movie? I love the fact that you have a strong male character in Mr. Incredible, and you have a strong female character in Elastigirl. And then, of course, the male and female in the son and daughter, and then also Jack, I guess. But, like, there doesn't need to be this thing where, like, the woman is over the man, and the woman is better than the man, the woman is more capable than the man. It can be equal, it can be, like, a team like this. And that's what I really think is what movies should be for the most part. You know, obviously, you can't have every movie where there's a strong man or every movie where there's a strong woman. I kind of like a super suit myself, honestly. Like, I would definitely not want a cape, though, regardless. Because I just feel like a cape would get in the way, even when you're fighting. Even if you're just, like, punching someone and you're, just the cape would... You could trip over the cape. Like, when I was making the movie in 2022, I had this toga thing, which was kind of like a cape, and I tripped over it like a million times. I think if I had a superhero suit, I would want the Spider-Man suit, but with a caveat, I would want the black Spider-Man suit. That is my favorite superhero costume. I don't know what it is about it. And then I also love... This is a real hot take. I love the gray and blue and yellow Batman suit. I don't like this black Batman suit. I love I love the color black. You heard earlier in the commentary I wanted a black Mr. Incredible suit. Well, like, I would really love a black, I would not... I don't really love the black Batman suits. I really prefer it blue, gray, yellow. Like, there's just something so, like, cool and so unique about that. You just don't see it with you don't see it with other superheroes, like, I can't think of another superhero with, like, a light gray and blue suit. I guess Catwoman has a gray suit in the animated series or something. I forgot about this woman. She looks kind of like Darla from Finding Nemo a little bit. And I am having chili again. for the last time. You know what else I tried, guys? And I don't really drink soda very much. I do definitely drink a Mr. Pibb every year on my birthday. I allow myself like a soda a month. But if I don't do that, then I can have like a sip of soda once in a while, you know. So today I went to the dollar store and I remembered about the Beetlejuice Fantas. And I got the Haunted Apple, which is the Beetlejuice flavor. It's green. I wanted to try that. And it was really bad. It tasted like apple gum. Safi said it tasted like a pumpkin air freshener. But I thought it had this really weird like apple bubblegum flavor. And it really wasn't like apple. Like, it wasn't apple enough. I hated it. But I'd still give it like a C-. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't the worst thing in the world. I love that explosion, too. I love this part. Elastigirl becomes like a parachute type thing. And, yeah. It's so cool. I mean, they created these characters. They have these awesome powers. I mean, you could have easily made like a video game where you play as these characters because it's just so much fun. Like, I know that they made that Lego game, but like, I mean like a regular video game, you know? Like, you could just do an infinite number of things with these characters. And again, it just sparks your curiosity of like, what other superheroes are in this world? What other supervillains are in this world? You know, like, it's cool. Yeah, such a good scene. I would definitely like to crush whatever her name is. I already forgot her name, man. She is actually a really underrated character too. I gotta say, like, I forgot about her when it came to this movie. The only time I think about her is when people on Twitter, they bring her up and they're like, she's really hot. She's so hot. Like, that's all they say. And it's like, all the characters in this movie are fantastic. There's no flat, one-sided or one-dimensional characters like a Toy Story. You know, you got Andy. It's like, what kind of character is that? And then the mom, too. Like, this movie has every single character is a complete, full character. I can't believe that, like, I'm just in awe of this movie. I'm just so amazed by it. Like, even though I've seen it before multiple times, just wow. You know what's really sad too? After I made this trailer, the music that I used was supposedly copyright free. and I posted the video up on YouTube, and then I credited the person, but like, then I got a copyright claim thing, and it's really irritating because like, if I'm not able to use that music, then I'm gonna have to create a whole new trailer, based on like different music, because when you do a trailer, you base it all around the different cues in the music, and so yeah, I'm really kind of irritated about that. Yeah. And this is great too. In all the other modern kids movies, kids don't have any danger at all. And it's like, that's not the real world. And in this movie, they go right out and say it, that these bad guys are going to try to kill you. They're not going to just stop because you're children. Like, and this is hashtag 2004. Nowadays, what kids get is Harold and the Purple Crown. What else has Brad Bird done too? Because like, I want to see if there's anything else of his that I really, really like, or anything else that I should watch. I know that he did. Didn't he do the Birdman movie or whatever? Maybe that'd be interesting to watch. Yeah. Okay, Iron Giant. Yep, that's really good. Ratatouille. Yep, that's really good. Oh, he hasn't really done anything except Ghost Protocol and Tomorrowland. He hasn't really done any live action. That's really cool. He needs to direct a live action movie. He should have directed Fantastic Four. But then again, John Krasinski should have been Mr. Fantastic. They shouldn't have recast him. I know that's a hot take. Yeah, I don't know what else to say right now, honestly. Except, wow. I just saw the back of Elastigirl, and it's like, wow. I mean, they went out of their way to make her thick. To make her super thick. Honestly, I actually, looking at Elastigirl, she kind of reminds me, that girl in the new Alien movie, Kaylee Spaney? She kind of reminds me of her a little bit. And yeah, right there. I mean, she looks at it in the fucking mirror, guys. I mean, they really, knew how to cater to the audience back in 2004. They catered to the adults. They catered to the children. They catered to everyone. They said, we want everyone to be happy. We want to make a perfect movie that anyone could like, and nowadays they're like, fuck you. Yeah, this is a debacle. Until it isn't. Yeah. This is kind of like, I don't want to get too sexual, but like this kind of reminds me of those pornos where the girl is stuck in somewhere, you know, like I was like, yeah, you could easily probably turn that scene into a fan fiction. Yeah. I think as a kid, though, probably the biggest reason why I didn't think this movie was the greatest as a kid is because I didn't like how much of the movie took place on the island. I mean, it is kind of, I mean, I don't know, like, I don't know why it's really an issue or why it was an issue, but like, yeah. It's a lot more fun in the city in this movie, especially like that whole opening thing with Mr. Incredible trying to, you know, save the day before his wedding, and then that whole thing with Bon Voyage and everything. Like, that was so much more fun. And then most of the rest of the movie is just on this island, you know. So that, I guess that could be like the only like criticism for me so far. But then again, Toy Story 2 takes place in a hotel the whole movie. Takes place in a hotel where kids aren't allowed for some reason, like, that's super rare, apparently. You know what they could do as well? Speaking of prequels, they could make a Disney Plus series where it's all about Edna Mode creating the suits for different superheroes. And it could basically be like each episode is an individual story about all those different superheroes who got killed. Like, that'd be kind of cool, honestly. I like this of the. Yeah. Honestly, I choose the gray haired woman, whatever her name is. That's who I would choose. I wonder if there were any other animated movies that came out in 2004 that like competed against this movie. I'm gonna look that up because there's nothing to talk about. Which I know is like funny to say, but like all that I could say really is like the movie is happening. Now the kids are running away from the bad guys. It's like, fuck that. Shark Tale, ugh, gross. Never saw that. Oh, the Polar Express came out. That's kind of like a really good bad movie. Oh, Shrek 2 came out. Oh, God. That was perfect, that movie. Pretty damn good, but not as good as The Incredibles. I saw Scooby-Doo 2 in theaters. Yeah, nothing else, though, that's really worth note. Oh, Kangaroo Jack, the animated movie came out. That's funny. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a lot of animated movies, though, that look good. Like, I kind of like to watch all these animated movies. You know? I saw an ad yesterday, or a post yesterday on Facebook about the Page Master. And I was like, I want to watch the Page Master right now, you know? Like, put me in a Page Master mood. Speaking of water, I was filming in water today. It wasn't very fun. The water was so cold. It was like freezing cold. I went swimming too because this was basically like my last chance to go swimming for the year because the pool's going to close on the 15th. So, that's really soon. And basically what I had to do was I had to stick my head underwater with a mask on. And it was so hard. I like, too, how, like, the henchman... He's not like just this incompetent henchman who can just be like easily thwarted like that. You know, like I like how he's actually pretty smart too, and that it takes actual effort to beat him. It takes working together, using their strengths to beat the bad guy. You know, like that's what The Incredibles is. Yeah. There's that iconic shot. You know what? I'll say this. I think that shot of The Incredibles on the island, I think that is better than the shot in the Avengers. You know, the one where it's spinning around all of them. I think that this was a much cooler shot. It was a lot faster, speedier, more epic, I think. It was more colorful. Yeah. I guess that's a hot take. Yeah. You know what's really funny about this, too? I had a really good idea for a Batman story, and I wanted to use this particular villain who is basically like a joke character, and I wanted to turn him into like a real good villain. And basically the plot of the story, because that'll never happen, but the plot of the story was that this bad guy, he kills off all of the Justice League one by one, and the last person he has to kill off is Batman. And every single time he's killing off the superheroes, he's pretending like he's saving the day from them. And so like he's orchestrating these terror events, and then he's pretending to save the day and just killing all these superheroes one by one. And Batman is the final boss, essentially. And yeah. That's kind of like the plot of this movie, though, a little bit, so, yeah. You know what's really funny, though? Like, the Matt Reeves Batman was a little bit like what I had in mind. Like, a little tiny bit. It's like, it was on the way there to being, like, the Batman that I wanted to make as a teenager. So, it just wasn't, it wasn't as good as it should have been, or could have been. It was a piece of shit, and it's kind of exhausting to talk about, like, other things besides the actual movie, too, honestly. Like, it's kind of irritating, too, because it's like, I wish I could talk about the movie right now, like, whoa, they're escaping. Like, there's nothing to say, you know, so it just, you gotta talk about something. It's a commentary. I guess that's the downfall of commentaries, is that, like, you watch a movie and you really don't know if it'll be worth it, if you'll have stuff to say at a certain point. Yeah. I also didn't really like the movie as much when they get back into the city. I know that that's kind of, like, contradictive, because I said that earlier that I didn't like that the movie took place at the island for a large period of time. I don't know. Here's a good scene with Frozen. That's That's a great scene. You know what, too? I feel bad that, like, Buddy is actually really, really talented and smart, and it's too bad that, like, he went down this dark path and that he didn't just become his own superhero, in terms of, like, you know, he is actually, like, I mean, he's not, I mean, he's failing here, but, like, he has a lot of capabilities, he has a lot of potential, and I think that all he needed was, like, a push in the right direction, some guidance, and such. And, yeah. Because, like, he's cool. He is cool looking. Like, I like the whole, the wrist thing that he has where he can, like, pick people up and just, you know, or even pick up cars or buses or whatever with this, whatever power that he has. And he still has the rocket boots. And he has a cape, which, yeah. I gotta be honest, guys. I am close to putting this movie in number 2 or 3. I am very close to it just because, like, I don't know. I don't know what it is, you know? Like, it's just one of those things, you know? I guess I like the first half of the movie better than the second half, you know? Yeah. I can't believe I spent an entire day editing a fucking trailer. No. And I guess this is like the little sad period of the movie. Oh, wait, oh. Well, that sad period didn't last for very long, did it? Yeah, such a great message here. And, yeah. This is cool. This is very cool. It's just like, it just bounces from one thing to another with their powers helping each other and such. So cool. Like, this is like what a team should be. You know, like, honestly, like, in the Avengers movies and the later ones, not in the first two. The first two really felt like they were the Avengers and such. But in the third and the fourth one, it's like the superheroes just punch and just do a bunch of random shit, but none of their powers are really complementing each other. You know, like, the only part, I guess, where it did was that part in Infinity War where they were trying to execute that one plan that, of course, Star-Lord fucks up. And that was like a sequence where, like, they were trying to use what they had, the powers they had to get the job done. And that was pretty good. But the rest of the movies, you know, it's terrible. You know, I hated Infinity War. I think Endgame is massively overrated. I think that the way they handled the whole Infinity Gauntlet story is bizarre and kind of embarrassing, to say the least. And I think, say what you will about the first two Avengers movies, but it really felt like a comic book. It really felt like the people who made those movies knew about their powers. So the powers, the superheroes, they complemented each other so well. Like they all did their specific thing, with the CGI armies. The army of CGI, like, characters who all look the same. The aliens, the robots, whatever. Yeah. I mean, I can just imagine, like, an open world Incredibles game in the style of, like, Spider-Man, PS4, not the second one with the feminazi agendas in it, but the first one. I would definitely, if I had to play as one of the Incredibles characters, I would definitely be Mr. Incredible, for sure. I know, I've already said that before, haven't I? I've already fucking said that. Yeah. Itself. Yeah. And this is smart, too. This is a smart fighting sequence. It's so much more interesting to watch than, like, those bad fighting sequences they have in movies now where people just punch each other until someone falls down. And it takes a long time, too. That's another big pet peeve about, like, fight sequences, is where it's over in, like, 1 second, It just feels so anticlimactic when that happens. Like, honestly, I really like Deadpool and Wolverine, but there really wasn't a great fighting sequence in that movie. Like, the whole sequence with Deadpool and Wolverine fighting each other was not really that good because you knew that neither of them were going to die. There really wasn't... Syndrome passed out. That's funny. I forgot about that. No, it's not over yet. Nice. What fight? Oh, yeah. Deadpool and Wolverine. They really wasted Cassandra Nova, the villainous character. Not only was she sexy, but she was also super powerful. And at the end of the movie, instead of having to fight her, they just connect to, like, a machine, and then the machine's power overpowers her. And it's like, honestly, that was really cool with that song and everything, that they still haven't released the official version yet from the movie. The Madonna song. That was a really good cover song. Fantastic cover. But it would have been cool to see, like, an actual good fight scene like they had in this movie. Oh, this is my favorite part of the movie. Yeah. Yeah. That's so cool. So fucking cool. Like, this is actually better than the fight that just happened with the Incredibles family right now. Like, this is fucking amazing. It's just so unexpected. It's like an Exorcist movie. It's so good. He's fucking destroying Syndrome. That's pretty dark. It's a dark ending for that character. That's a beautiful shot. The explosion and everything. Oh, and here's the payoff. There's a bubblegum kid. Yeah. You know what? I will just say that I think that the island part, like in the middle half, is kind of slow. I didn't like that whole part, I guess. But like other than that, actually, the movie is really, really good. I'm going to have to think about if it's better or worse than Toy Story 1 and 2 because those movies just hit hard. And this movie, honestly, the first half hits harder than the second half. The fight with Jack and Syndrome is really cool. But it's not enough to really save the second half for me. This is really awkward, man. Honestly, I don't think that it's good that Dash was allowed to play sports like that. I think that was a stupid thing. Because, honestly, you could say that they could actually, in a future Incredibles movie, they could make Dash a villain. Oh, here's the Underminer. Yeah, what the hell? I'm glad this wasn't the villain of the second movie. It's just that the way that he was taken out and how easy it was just, stupid. Now it's over. So yeah, that was a movie. That was enjoyable, you know. I'm glad that I finally got to watch that again. I would say probably I am gonna rank it lower now. You know, that's what happens when you watch a whole movie. You know, it just yeah. But overall, I really enjoy it. Kinda. I definitely think that it's a better setup movie for a sequel though than it is a good standalone movie. Like it feels like there is a sequel here that we didn't get that would have been a lot better and would have been really, really good. But regardless, I give this movie, I'd say this movie reminds me a lot of the dinner that they had in the movie. You know, where they had steak, pasta, chicken or something, or no, meatloaf, Like, that's like what this movie is. It's like you have a bunch of these entrees. It's almost like a buffet where you can just take a bunch of different foods, put a little bit of each on your plate, and enjoy all of them. I really enjoy buffets, actually. I had a buffet dinner when I went on vacation to Pennsylvania at this convention, and I really enjoyed, like, just getting a little bit of each entree, a little bit of each side dish, too, and putting it all on my plate, and then getting to enjoy it as much as I wanted, you know. Really, really delicious. So I would say, yeah, this movie was pretty good. Pretty good, yeah. That's what happens, guys. Like, at least I'm being honest, though. At least I'm not, like, pretending that, like, oh, yeah, that's, number one. Not anymore. Sorry. I'm gonna have to change my rating, too. What did I give it? Oh, 4 stars. No, I'm gonna give it 3.5 on Letterboxd. Yeah. Ooh. I'm following someone who gave it 1 star. Ooh, who's that weirdo? Ooh. Okay, so please like this video. I don't know who that is. And then please subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see more movie reviews. And please comment and tell me what you think about The Incredibles. I am probably going to go do some more writing now. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon.